Hello, my name's Murray, and I'm a professional software developer. Today, we're going to be setting up a PC with some of the basics you need for writing code. In particular, we'll be installing Java, Maven, NodeJS, and an IDE. We're going to start by downloading Java. There are several places on the web from which you can download Java. Oracle, OpenJDK, and Amazon are three of the most popular. When choosing from which location to download Java, you have to consider how quickly that site's going to provide security fixes, and you have to consider the licensing. All three of these sites provide Java for development purposes for free. So I'm going to choose Amazon Credo because I want to install an app later on AWS. Now, for the major version, of which the latest is 21, you have to consider compatibility with your existing software, and you have to consider compatibility with your tools and your libraries. So, since this is a greenfield development project, we're going to use the latest version. Go to Amazon, you will see they provide Java for Linux, lots of versions of Linux, Mac, and Windows. We want a Windows version. Now there's MSI and a zip. An MSI will fix up your environment variables automatically. A zip will show us a better example of setting up Java, or a more complete version of setting up Java. Once I download that, I want to copy it over to my program files where it's going to live. Copy, go to my C drive, and program files, paste. Now, this is going to take a couple of minutes, so it's a great time for me to pause the video. I've copied Java over to my program files. I'm going to want to set up my system environment variables. I'm going to need the path for the bin folder. So I'm going to just look at the properties here and grab its location. Now I'm going to start the settings program and do edit system environment variables, and then click environment variables. We'll see I already have a Java home. Let's be clever and create it new, just so you can have the full experience. Java home, and I'm going to copy that path into the variable value. Notice I don't include bin there, but now I'm going to edit the path. Go here to my path, edit. Again, let's do a new one. Let's just here, delete, new, I'm going to say the location of the bin folder, and this time we include bin on the path. And now we have a nicely new constructed path for that. Say OK here. How do we know this works? I'm going to start the command prompt. Do a Java version. And voila, there is Corretto, Amazon's Java installed, version 21.0.2.13. Before we install Maven, I want to talk about this window in the center of the screen. I pre-configured PowerShell to launch from my launch bar with the window size I want, the font I want. And I can use PowerShell to go back and reissue commands. So it's really convenience. But for our validation of Maven, let's go back to basics and use the command prompt. Also, it seems every time they change the version of Windows, where to find the environment variables change. So let's close this and we'll get more practice finding those settings. To download Maven, I'm going to open up Google. I'm going to choose Maven download. Maven is an Apache product, and they're the only ones from which you can download it. You'll notice that it's written in Java, so there is no Linux version, Windows version, or Mac version, just one version, and you can get it in different types of compressed format. Could choose zip, which is the easiest to use on Windows, in my opinion. And then we're going to go to our program files and create a new folder that we're going to call Apache. It's not uncommon to have multiple versions of Maven installed, and there are other tools that Apache creates. So now we can go to downloads, and see, I've had a few times that I've set this downloading. I'm going to copy this over to our Apache folder. Shouldn't take too long. Can actually go find the settings and do that in parallel. Say edit system environment variables. Choose environment variables. Now I already had Apache installed, but I'm going to edit this. The M2 home is no longer needed by Apache itself, but a lot of tools that use Apache will often look for the M2 home. So even if you're not installing version 2, it's not a bad idea to set up this environment variable. So I just put the path, just like before, into this environment variable. And then for our Windows path, we're going to edit that. Why is do I already have M2? So I have it configured such that it just uses the M2 home with the bin directory, which is exactly what we want. I'm going to cheat and copy this and delete it so we can have practice adding a new segment to our path. I'm just going to paste it in there. So percent M2 home percent, we'll just copy the value of M2 into the path and then bin. Now I'll start that command prompt I promised. And we'll do MVN, which is the name of the Maven program, and version. And we'll see that it's hooked up to use our Java current version that we're using. It's on Windows 11 and 3.9.6. We'll just clean up this. And we'll pause and go on and install NodeJS. Node.js, we're going to, again, go to Google. Now, I already have version 20.11 installed, so let's install the most current version. Node does not promise that the current version is completely stable. So you gotta work on the cutting edge. Now for that downloads as an MSI. And so we're going to go to our downloads. Get rid of these downloads of Apache Maven, I mean. I'm going to run this MSI. Okay. It's ready to start. I'm going to accept the licensing agreement. I don't think it's changed much. And that's where my current version of Node is installed. I'm going to put .21 on the end of that folder name. Next, this MSI allows us to add NodeJS and Node NPM to our path. And we're going to let that happen. I had a little trouble when I installed the last version. And I'll just choose all the necessary tools. And so we're going to check it afterwards, get permission for this to run. Finish. Permission for the additional tools to run. Now, anytime you update your environment variables, you still have to reopen all these shells, like command shells and PowerShells that you start. Let's go to the settings while that's happening. I want to confirm the settings. As I said, I had a little bit of problems with that before. And let's see. Settings. Edit. To path. And that's still on Node.js. That's up. NPM has not been updated yet. I got a bit out of that video so you wouldn't have to wait while the process finished installing. Now we'll go to the environment variables and check, because this is where I had the problem before. So go to path. There's two segments that this is supposed to set up. There's the node path, which is nodejs.21, great. And there's the nodejs npm path that is not correct. Same problem I had before. And hopefully this will save you some debugging when you're trying to figure out why your npm is not working. Oh. Now we can test that it's configured properly. The npm program has a version command. And we see it's 10.2.4. The node doesn't have a version option, maybe has a question mark, but starting node will also tell me the version. And it's version 21.6 that we just installed. I'll clean this up from our desktop. And we're ready to install our IDEs. We're going to install both Intellij and Eclipse. Now, Intellij has two main IDEs, and they are an ultimate version and a community version. The community version is free, but I already have the ultimate version installed. So instead of installing the community version of JetBrains, I'm going to install Toolbox, which allows me to manage all my tools from JetBrains, their version, and which ones I have installed from the Toolbox app. So I'll just start that. And run it. You'll notice that I already have Intellij Ultimate installed. Let's install pcharm. And let's install Golang. Since my Intellij is up to date, would have been an update button if it was not. Let's start that. And let's create a new blank project. While we're waiting for the other tools to install, let's just do new project. We're going to, I've already have this configured from my JDK before, so let's change it to the one I just installed. There we go. Okay. And we're going to choose a Maven archetype and just say, does this still have standard one? Create. If we're going to set up a project, we'll do that as another video. So I'll just exit this. And looks like Toolbox is done. Yep, it's got those installed. Let's open Golang. Configure the installation directory. Okay. Oh, we don't have any settings to import. Goland. Okay. Well, I'm not going to start the trial now because I do want to do that, but I'm kind of busy at the moment. And I don't want to pay for Golang till after the trial's done. So let's go and install Eclipse. Just Eclipse. Download. And we'll just install the latest version of Eclipse. And I'm not going to donate anything today. Because I'm not planning to use Eclipse currently for a while. I have used Eclipse for years and it's a fine product, but currently I prefer to use JetBrains Intellij. So let's see, C++ build, unless they have, I could do is do Eclipse for a different language. That would keep me up to date with the latest Eclipse. But we'll install Java IDE for now. Accept. That's done. Launch it. Set up my Eclipse workspaces. Yeah, we'll just use the default for now. I like the new splash screen. All right. This project I set up from a previous install. So I'm going to delete it and we're just going to create a new project. Let's see. So let's do file, new Maven project. And let's see. We're going to choose a Maven archetype. I always like that. Here's a nice feature of Eclipse is that it's a little bit more convenient for finding the archetype you want. And let's call this a project. Yes. Now this was a little weird. It has this Y here is actually a yes/no question. Yep, okay. Proceed. It's now created a project with just some of the basics in it. Package with a main.test. Yay! So we're done for this video. Thank you for watching my first video. It's been my philosophy that I should take these videos slow so that you can pause them and follow along at your own speed instead of trying to cram a whole bunch into the video. If you found this video useful, please like and subscribe to the channel.